Your company may have used AI as an excuse, but the answer is not to argue with the narrative or to outskill the machine. 3 things that make a senior professional genuinely irreplaceable in the market. First, documented authority. Not a resume, not a LinkedIn profile. Second, a warm market relationship network, not 10,000 LinkedIn connections. Third, a positioning statement specifically enough to generate AI didn't take your job. Your company used AI as an excuse, and I need you to understand the difference because if you don't, you are at risk. You're going to make the wrong move at the wrong time. So the layoffs happening right now at Amazon, Microsoft, they are being framed as AI-driven efficiencies. And some of that is true, but a significant portion of what is being called AI restructuring is actually something companies have been wanting to do for years. Let's flatten the management layers. Let's reduce salary overhead, consolidate functions. So AI is just a way out. It's the narrative that plays better in press release than saying we're actually cutting costs. So today I'm going to break down exactly what is happening. Why is it affecting senior leadership specifically? And the only positioning move that makes you genuinely irreplaceable.
I want to take a pause for a second and talk about your confidence, right? You got the experience, the results, the credibility, but when it comes to putting your voice out there, fear creeps in. Who am I to do this? Does that sound familiar? That's imposter syndrome, and it's keeping you small. My coaching is about breaking through that, helping you turn your expertise into content, conversation, and coaching that builds real influence in your industry. So if you're done hiding behind titles and ready to lead with your story, head over to connectingwithcreatives.com/coaching and let's get started. I'll see you soon.
Here is the pattern that analysts have identified across companies doing the largest cuts right now. Step 1, invest heavily in AI infrastructure over 12 to 18 months. Step 2 is conduct an internal assessment of which roles can be partially or fully automated. Step 3, announce layoffs with AI attribution. Step 4, frame the whole thing as competitive necessity. This template serves multiple purposes for the company. It positions them as forward-thinking to investors. It gives them a defensible narrative for the cuts. It creates recruiting leverage for new AI-focused roles they want to fill at lower cost. But here's what the template observes. So many of the roles being eliminated were already on the list. The efficiency conversation was already happening. AI accelerated the timeline and cleaned up the messaging. Your job was not eliminated because a machine can do it. Your job was eliminated because the company decided the machine plus a cheaper person was better to deal with than your current compensation. So it comes down to the numbers. This is a different problem and it has a different solution. So what can bridge the gap? Like what can happen right now? Okay, let's dive a little deeper. So I want to be precise here because the conversation around AI, job is full of noise, is messy. So let me give you the clear picture. The roles most vulnerable to AI displacement share a specific profile. They involve repetitive tasks, follow-up defined processes, and produce outputs that can be evaluated objectively. So customer support, content creation, QA testing, basic project management, basic data analytics, analytical roles. So that's what's happening right now. It cannot build a relationship. That's the game changer. It cannot earn trust over time in a market. It cannot sit in an advisory conversation at the moment. So a CEO who is navigating a crisis, bringing 20 years of pattern recognition to the room, it cannot hold accountability in the way that a human expert who has skin in the game can. So the professionals who are irreplaceable right now are the ones who are best at executing processes. They are the ones who are best at exercising judgment in real-time situations, right? And especially when you have a domain of expertise. So the problem is that most senior leaders have not packaged the judgment in a way that the market can find. It exists inside their head, inside their company, which means when the company decides they no longer need it, the market has no idea they ever existed. So if you've been coaching in private, listen to this. So here's the positioning move that changes everything for you. Indispensable to one employer means you are valuable as long as that employer decides you are. So it means your leverage is entirely dependent on their priorities, their budget, their strategic direction. So market indispensability means that market knows who you are, what you solve, and how to find you, independent of any single company. It means you have a platform that distributes your thinking. It means you have an audience that trusts your perception. It means when someone is your target market and they need your expertise, right? They understand that you built decades of building your thought process, your frameworks. So AI cannot build that for you. A title cannot do that for you. Okay. You over time showing up consistently, positioning yourself as that will have an impact on your authority in the marketplace. So I want to be direct about why I keep coming back to the podcast as a vehicle, because I know some of you are thinking this sounds like content creator conversation. And that is not the world we live in. It's not. Here's the specific reason that podcasting works for senior corporate professionals better than any other platform right now. It converts your existing behavior in a market asset. You already have the experience. You already have the frameworks. You already have the perspective that took years to develop. A podcast simply takes that expertise, which currently lives inside your head and inside your company, and it makes it distributable, right? Every episode is a packaging event. Every guest, every conversation is a relationship that now exists in your network instead of your employers. So every solo podcast is a documented piece of intellectual property that belongs to you, regardless of what happens to your title next quarter. So this is not a side project. This is not a parallel asset that runs alongside your company role and compounds over time. The executives who are navigating this AI transition without fear are the ones who learn to code or pivot to becoming AI consultants. Three things that make a senior professional genuinely irreplaceable in the market. First, documented authority, not a resume, not a LinkedIn profile, an active, growing body of work that demonstrates your thinking on a specific problem that the market cares about. Second, a warm market relationship network, not 10,000 LinkedIn connections, a smaller, denser network of people who actually know your thinking, trust your judgment, and would pick up the phone if you called. Third, a positioning statement specifically enough to generate inbound, not am operation executive with 15 years of experience, something like I help mid-market companies navigate post-acquisition integration without losing the institutional knowledge that made the acquisition valuable. That's what you should be shooting for. So the level of specificity is what makes your phone rings. None of these three things require you to quit your job. None of them require you to become a content creator. All three of them can be built in the margins of full-time corporate role if you have a 12-month plan. You got to be committed though. So I want to name something directly because I think it is the thing that is keeping you most stuck. You are waiting for clarity. This is your signal right here. You are waiting for the right time. You are waiting to see how the AI thing shakes out before you decide to what to build. And I understand that, that initial thought. But here's what the waiting game actually costs you. Every month you wait, you're missing out on compound interest, right? Every quarter you sit on the platform is a quarter built where someone else in your domain is getting more market share. Their name is surfaced, their relationships are being built. The executives who have optionality in 2027 and 28 are the ones building the platform now in 2026. So not ones who waited to see what happened. AI is not going to slow down. Corporate restructuring is not going to slow down. The window to build while your title is still working for you, while your name still opens up doors and your current role gives you access to guests and conversations you might not otherwise get if you didn't have the role. So that window is open right now. It will not stay open indefinitely. So your company may have used AI as an excuse, but the answer is not to argue with the narrative or to outskill the machine. The answer is to build the one thing AI cannot replace, your judgment made you visible and findable, but the market that needs it, that is what a podcast does when it's positioned correctly. So this is what the mic check method is built to create. So if you're a senior corporate leader who is done waiting for clarity and ready to build the platform that makes you irreplaceable, the link to start that conversation is in the show notes. I will see you there.